There is no way of getting around it. Aston Martin had a bitterly disappointing 2024 season. This is a team that people have high expectations for because of the money being spent and the ambition that they've claimed to have. Yet that money and ambition have so far earned them nothing. The 94 points earned them 5th position in the Constructors' Championship, but the season couldn't have ended on a lower note. Lance Stroll earned 0 points over the last 11 races. Fernando Alonso managed 6 points finishes in the same time frame, but they definitely finished worse than they started. Can they turn it around? And if so, how? And are there struggles pushing Alonso to retirement? Today, I'll check it all out, so don't go anywhere. As F1 gears up for the 2025 season, there is one team in particular that no one really knows what to expect from. With YouTubers, news outlets, and social media users getting their predictions in for next season, me included, Aston Martin have been all over the place. But something everyone seems to be able to agree on is that they won't do well, and Lance Stroll will do even worse. Opinions on the owner's son are actually at an all-time low. So bad, in fact, that the race ranked Aston Martin's 2025 lineup as the 8th worst in the sport, despite showering Fernando Alonso with praise. Stroll managed to drag the overall team ranking below the Haas lineup of Ocon and Behrman and the Sauber lineup of Hülkenberg and Bortoleto. That means they rated Stroll significantly lower than a guy with just 3 race starts as a replacement and the F2 champion. The truth is that you would take pretty much every F1 driver over Lance Stroll given the option, even the completely unproven ones, because they all have a decent chance of being better than him. But despite Lance Stroll being a significant disadvantage for the team, he is not Aston Martin's problem at the moment. If they were fighting for a championship, then you would say that something needs to change, but the truth is, he's far from Aston Martin's biggest issue. The team has spent hundreds of millions on a new factory. They've talked big talk about ambition and wanting to challenge for titles, but they cannot improve a car through development. In 2023, they turned up with a seriously competitive car, which Alonso drove to 6 podiums in 8 races, before the rest of the field started to improve their cars and Aston Martin couldn't. The same thing happened last season, to a much lesser extent. Aston Martin weren't podium-worthy to start the season, but at least they had the pace to get decent point finishes. But then Mercedes pulled away from them, and Haas and eventually Alpine caught up to them, and that was that. They didn't appear to make any significant gains in car performance at any point of the season. Adrian Newey is coming on board early this year, but anyone who thinks that he is somehow going to work miracles and turn this team into winners is deluded. They're going to need more than Newey's insight into car design to solve their problems. Team principal Mike Crack has conceded Aston Martin must be self-critical in its analysis as to why it failed to sufficiently improve its Formula One machinery 2 seasons in a row. Summing up the season, Mike Crack said, "We delivered below expectation, so we cannot be happy with how our season went. We stay in P5, but had the championship started in the summer, we would not finish in P5. So I think, in all, we need to reflect on the season and see it very critically. The steps that we have brought to the car have not managed to improve the car, and there is a little bit of parallel last year in all that. The difference is that we have started better last year, and we've not started at that same high level this year. So I think there's plenty for us to look at in terms of how we do these things, because we have now, 2 years in a row, not really managed to improve from where we started, but rather slip back. Aston Martin aren't stupid. The team knows that they have problems with car development. Lawrence Stroll will be reminding them of that every time he speaks to the team. But solving that problem isn't easy. What would have been easy is for the drivers to start calling out the team for not providing them with the vehicle needed to succeed. Alonso in particular, as a 2-time drivers' champion, could quite easily have started complaining about the team to the media and everyone would have agreed with him. Of course, that wouldn't have helped anyone. All it would have done is put more pressure on them. But that didn't stop the likes of Lewis Hamilton and all the Alpine drivers doing it last season. Before I talk more about that though, and what Alonso thinks of his future at the team after a few difficult seasons, if you're enjoying the video and want to catch some more F1 content in the run-up to the 2025 season, then make sure to give the video a like and subscribe to F1 Reverse. Thanks a lot. So we've established that Lance Stroll is probably the lowest rated driver in the sport at the moment, but the team's real problem is that they can't develop a car to save their lives, and they know it. So were there any positives or highlights to take from 2024 for them? Well, on track, Mike Crack doesn't think there is anything to be positive about, but his driver's attitude toward the struggles was the best part for him. Crack said he was thrilled that his drivers had remained somewhat positive despite their struggles. "The highlight is for me the drivers and how they've coped with this, how they've stuck to the team," Crack said in an end-of-season interview. "It would be so easy for them to go in the media and slam us down because for them it's the most difficult. Week in, week out, they drive it and they cannot change the car. They have to drive it and they have all the microphones in front of them, and they have always stuck with the team. So for me, that's actually a big highlight." When your highlight from the season is the fact that you drivers didn't go to the media to complain about how bad your car is, you know it's been a bad season. To be fair, avoiding Alonso's historically sharp tongue is definitely a positive for the team. Who could forget his GP2 engine comment when he drove for McLaren, who were powered by Honda at the time? In 2026, Alonso will reunite with Honda as they become Aston Martin's engine supplier for the new regulations. That car will also be designed by Adrian Newey, as Aston Martin look to capitalise on the huge investment into their Silverstone facility and become the championship challenging team they think they can be. During that 2026 season, Alonso will turn 45 years old, making him practically a fossil by modern F1 standards. Alonso's contract will keep him at the team for that season, but what happens beyond then is a mystery. Alonso has made it clear that what happens in 2026 decides what his future looks like. He's viewing it as a last roll of the dice to win races, and perhaps a championship, before hanging up his F1 racing gloves for good. The expectations will be high because it's a new change, a new car, change of regulations, a car made by Adrian, Alonso said. "Probably, or at least to start with, it will be my last season in Formula 1 because my contract finishes at the end of 2026, so it's the time of delivering and the time of truth. High expectations. I'll start the season thinking like that for sure, because I cannot think too much in the future. At the moment, my current contract is for 2 more years. With my age, my motivation, I don't know how it's going to be." If Aston Martin delivers on its high expectations for 2026, Alonso revealed he could be tempted to prolong his F1 career a little while longer, saying, "If the 2026 season is running smoothly and we're having a good time and there is a possibility to race 1 more year, I'll be open for sure. I will not close the door beforehand, but I will not start the season thinking that. I will take every race if it was my last race, and I'll enjoy every second." No pressure then Aston Martin, but the future of one of Formula 1's most loved and most respected drivers hangs on the quality of your 2026 car. As Flavio Briatore said, seeing Alonso bow out on a world championship would be absolute magic. There are now 2 feelings in my chest. On the one hand, I hope that Fernando can get off to another flying start with Adrian Newey at Aston Martin in 2026. But on the other hand, he's racing against Alpine, the Italian said. But still, would a world championship title as a farewell be a brilliant story? Do you think Aston Martin can do it? Can they give Alonso a car to challenge for a world championship? Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.